What's up, YouTube? Today, I want to get into why Chinese food is so popular with everybody, or a lot of people. And you got to understand the Chinese art of cooking, where they cut the meat in very fine pieces and let it semi marinate while they stir fry with a lot of good savory herbs. You know, you get your garlic, your ginger root, you get a little hoisin sauce and soy, sometimes some oyster sauce, your sweet seafood influences. They may cook shrimps in with the sauce to kind of give it a flavor of seafood. And this is where a lot of the Chinese food is very addicting. And their pork is roasted beautifully. And the pork in the Chinese restaurants, the dumplings, all those items are so well put together because the Chinese chefs take pride in their cooking like the Indians and the French and the Italians, and they all tend to have this perfection of making their own sauces. And the Chinese mother sauces, this is where you get that addicting extra factor, like the General Tso and sesame chicken often is eaten up. Like people love this stuff, and lo mein has this savory sweetness to it, and it just has the right amount of salt to make it a very addicting flavor that you will keep coming back to. So this is the thing about Chinese cooking. Now, is it authentic when you go to a Chinese place in the US? Not at all. Because in reality, in China, they eat everything. And they have so many diverse items on the menu in China that you would not see in a regular place in the United States. And so one of the things they have in China is lychees, scorpions on a stick, crickets, all kinds of insects, all kinds of seafood, and all kinds of vegetables. And you have a lot of different rice dishes. But then what happened was people decided what would sell in America. They decided what the American taste would want, so they focus on the meat. Like you get your General Tso chicken and you get all these different items that are basically designed for the American taste, where everybody wants meat, everybody wants a rich, more fatty dish. So they use a lot of exorbitant amounts of oil in a lot of these dishes. They often deep fry, and so it gets very Americanized. And this is where, like the Sichuan, Kung Pao, and a lot of these chicken dishes and sauces traditionally had some influence in China. And you had your Cantonese cooking with it's a little bit less spice, more fresh vegetables and fresh everything. And, then your mugu gaipan and all these different dishes from all different parts of China come into play. But the difference is they take a Chinese concept and then they make an Americanized dish. But the thing about it is that at a Chinese place, you can bet there's going to be soy sauce and sugar and corn syrup and peanut oil in a lot of these dishes with just a little garlic and chili. So, they kind of mix it up, but it tends to be those in a lot of dishes. They tend to focus on that. And then you can have your citrus sauces. You can have your other savory spices and sauce. You can have all kinds of stir fry, but it tends to have the same flavor in a lot of cases. That's what I find with Chinese restaurants. A lot of the items in the menu are very similar in flavor. So that's one thing about it. And, when you do your lo mein and a lot of these dishes, they use the soy sauce with peanut oil and some sugar to cook the noodles. And then they add the shrimp, and the shrimp gives it a good flavor because the shrimp really gives good, strong flavor to a seafood dish. And so sometimes they use fish sauce, and they can use all kinds of components to really give that savory extra factor here. And so this is the other thing, like Chinese food, the oyster sauce and fish sauce and the shrimp paste and all these different components and hoisin sauce and all these different savory components really build a very rich flavored dish. So it makes it addicting because you're combining all these components into a sauce, adding a little sugar to sweeten it up, and then it's a very complex flavor.